Fresh off of our best season to date and a very successful journey in the NHL draft lottery, we prepare for yet another season, what could be our most memorable season to date. You know, to follow up on what happened last year, will this be the first year that we make the playoffs? First thing to note, this is ridiculous. Justin Madsen has jumped to high elite after 2 seasons. He is an 89 overall, which is not, currently his actual overall. You can see he's a second-line forward, so still, he's getting there, though, which is absolutely ridiculous. But we have a lot of work to do when it comes to the contract, so let's get down to business. First and foremost, Howard Lowe, still projected to be our starting goaltender. That is not really a surprise to anybody. I'm going to try to save a little bit of money there with him. Unfortunately, Kari Pirinen he's done. Pirinen's out. I mean, he's only a 73. He's now 28 years old. Good for the AHL in a way, but Torres is going to be having that AHL starting spot. So, Kari, you've been a solid asset to the team at times. 127 career NHL games with an .883 save percentage. 4 shutouts, though, which is actually pretty good. The 6th round pick in 2021, but I hate to say it, Kari Pirinen is on the way out. Of course, Torres will be signed in the aftermath of that. Let's just go ahead and pay him a little bit more money, and that will be the goaltending setup for the season. Obviously, Baldwin will not be signed right now. I think we're going to be at the point where we might not sign players until they have to be signed. We'll see if I stick to that. Jamie Drysdale needs a big-time contract. Holy shit. All right, there are big-time contracts, and then there's Jamie Drysdale's, if I'm going to be on this team and never win a cup, you're paying me contract. Good Lord. Well, the good news is he wants to re-sign. He is 28 years old already. I'm going to try to bring this down to 12 by 8, and we'll see if that goes through. Matthew Bales, now 27 years old. Obviously going to look to keep him. I'll just sign him for what he wants. Vigilante, who's made the roster recently. We will sign him to his asking price. Now, Gretz is an interesting one. Not entirely sure what I want to do with Gretz and Michael Bianconi. It depends on who else is here. And again, a lot of these guys will be in junior or just kind of stuck in the AHL. I think we're going to bring Gretz back. I think we'll bring Bianconi back as well. Let's go for 1-year deals with these two. League min is now 825. But we'll bring these two back. They've been around for a long time at this point. But we'll bring those two back. We don't have anybody else to worry about. On the wing, though, we have a lot to worry about. Brennan Othman is the first player to worry about. And, again, he also wants that big boy contract. That's going to be honestly, we could round it down a little bit, or we could go to the actual number. We're just going to round up to 10. 10 by 8 for Mr. Othman. Cameron Merritt, who has taken some steps forward recently. I'll just sign him to what he's asking for. Harvey Brennan, who's been a decent 4th liner for us, we'll sign him. Recchi now up to a 78. He could make the NHL roster this year, which would be very nice. McCauley, of course, has been around for quite a few seasons. We'll see if he'll accept that extra year. And then from there, I'm not entirely sure. In terms of the amount of players that we have signed or could sign, I want to get the top dogs, done first, and then we'll take it from there. As Willie Cashman, we're going to try 9.5 for him over these 8 years, just to lock up the core of this team. Hayden Fowler's going nowhere. I mean, he's been a long-time member of this team. We'll look to hold on to him. Hoffman as well. And Maldine still has a chance to get better, so I'm pretty happy in terms of re-signing him. And then for our centers, obviously Todd Lehman is going to be signed. What a victory that was for us in the last episode. Max Galad will be coming back, hopefully. And we're going to look to bring back Shepard as well. Ernie, I'm not quite sure. So let's advance a day and see how these negotiations went for us. Lehman signs as ELC. Shepard rejects. Recchi resigns. Torres resigns. Bales rejects. Vigilante is back. Cashman rejects. Galad rejects. Hoffman resigns. Fowler resigns. Drysdale rejects. Gretz is back. Bianconi's back. Othman rejects. McCauley is back. Brennan is back. Merritt is back. Lowe rejects. Maldine signs. Okay, so relatively successful, except all the big name guys rejected, which really sucks. Now, Howard Lowe doesn't want to stay, but too bad, Howard. We have contract control. You will be staying. Let me just pay you a little bit extra. Baldwin, of course, we're not going to look to sign. So the Drysdale contract's going to be very expensive. Let's see if we can sign Bales here. We'll handle the big boy contracts here in a moment. It might be another situation where we have to just sign them for a year and then see what happens. Yeah, I mean, those are pretty much the last ones to do. So if we go to forwards, let's actually, here, let's just go to skaters in general. That way I can sign Jamie. All right, Jamie, let's try this again. Let's try this again. I want to save a little bit of money, if you don't mind. We'll go 12.5 for 8 seasons. Whew, and it is going to be expensive. Mr. Cashman. Mr. Cashman. Let's go. I forget what the reduced number would have been. Let's go for, it was 9.5. We'll go 10 even. 10 by 8 for Willie Cashman. And I think Brennan Othman was a similar number. If they reject the 8 years, we'll try 7 like they're asking for. We'll go 10.5 for one Brennan Othman. That's a lot of money to dish out. Let's see what happens. Bales rejects. Cashman rejects. Drysdale rejects. Othman signed and Lowe rejected. Son of a bitch. So we only got one of them. It was Brennan Othman. That is frustrating. For one Howard Lowe. Let's fucking work this deal out, you bastard. Let's go $2 million for the season. Defensively, I can't believe Matthew Bales is rejecting, as if you're even that important. Let's go 2.25 for you. Again, Drysdale, we'll figure it out whenever we see it. Drysdale and Cashman, we'll figure it out in a minute. So forward-wise, let's just say Cashman's going to be back. That's 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 in terms of overall. So Max Galad, we do want to look at bringing back. Let's go a little bit over $2 million for you. And then Shepard, we want to bring back as well, just to give us as many options as possible. It's going to be a little bit expensive now, isn't it? So Baldwin, hate to say it, but I don't really see him getting any better at a low 9. So I think it's Parker, right? Yeah, Parker Baldwin, 5th round pick in 2024, has an interesting shooting category, but he can't skate. He simply cannot skate. So the option would be like, oh, put him in the NHL, put him on like a good line where he could actually shoot the puck, but it's not going to happen. So Parker Baldwin is on the way out. Clint Cavallo, who was a 4th round pick in 2024, it's kind of the same thing for him, but he's 26 at this point. Good shooting category. He is going to be on the way out as well. Now Hart, I mean, he's 25. I don't think we're going to keep Carson Hart either. I'm going to give other people a chance who might be able to benefit more from the ice time. There's also Dallas Ernie, another 2024 draft pick. Shows you how rough that draft was 6 years ago. He is on the way out. Burish, who was the first player we ever selected from the Sioux out of pure desperation because there was nobody else left. And that might be the only way I select players. It depends on the upcoming draft class. Maybe we have crossed that line where players from the Sioux and Sarnia are eligible. We will actually go ahead and sign Burish because he should be able to go straight to the AHL. Edwards will hold off, obviously. And Rosehill will hold off. Asham. Okay, so that should pretty much do it for the forwards then. So with Cashman, let's try 11 by 7. Jesus, that's expensive, but you know what? It gets the deal done. And for Jamie Drysdale, let's go 13.5 by 7. Good Lord. Will these deals go through? Shepard signs, Bales signs, Cashman signs, Galad signs, Drysdale still rejects, as does Howard Lowe. Where the hell does Howard Lowe get off? This is insulting. No, wait, he accepted. Okay, that was weird. Maybe he accepted the qualifying offer. I don't even know. He's back. That's the important thing. So in terms of expiring deals, it's just Jamie Drysdale. We have $42 million to spend. So, yeah, Jamie, congratulations. You're going to be getting $20 million for the season because you refused to sign short term. So, yeah, no, very easy decision now, wasn't it, Jamie? A very easy decision, right you are. So, let's sim ahead. I'm not sure in terms of the coaching staff and everything. We just lost a ton of scouts. I don't know if we lost any coaches. I'm going to jump cut ahead to when this team is set up. I'll talk to you guys then, and we'll sim this season. All right. Is this the team that is finally going to get the Detroit Red Wings into the playoffs? I'm not entirely sure, but we're going to find out. The top line stays the same as it has been. The unfortunate downside, of course, that Willie Cashman's not an amazing fit for the top line, but he's still there alongside Justin Madsen, who's now rocking an 89 overall at high elite. I mean, what a pickup he was. Thank God we ended up with him. And, of course, Brennan Othman there as well. It would be nice to see more than just plus ones, but this team should still be able to be successful. Second line, we're rolling with Todd Lehman. And actually, here we'll go here, of course, medium elite, 18 years old. Todd Lehman, DeAndre Carlton, and Cameron Merritt, who is now 26 years old. Third line, Reed Neal is the guy who gets dropped. I don't think he'll ever really be able to reach Merritt territory, so we'll drop him down to the third line alongside Hayden Fowler and Aiden Recchi. Indeed, made the team this year. First round pick, 4th overall in 2026. And then the fourth line, William McCauley alongside Max Galad and Harvey Brennan. So it's not horrible. It's the best forward core we've ever had. The argument is like, okay, would a different coach be a better fit? But we are rocking an A-plus head coach right now, which is why I have him there. So that's really where the trouble pops up. Defensively, it's almost the same as what you've been used to. There is a new addition, though. We still have Drysdale McGrath, Vigilante Bales, and actually here we'll take a look. Of course, Drysdale now 28. You have McGrath, 25, low elite, hasn't really gotten any better. Vigilante, now 24 years old at the 77 overall, next to Matthew Bales. The new addition is Angelo Delmas, 2nd overall in 2027. He has made the team. He'll be next to Edgar Sasaki. And, of course, the goaltenders. We have Howard Lowe and Tristan Lennox. So Lowe recovers from a super, super low, pun intended, overall. He's up to an 82. He is a more than serviceable goaltender at the NHL level at this stage. The thing about him, though, and I wonder how much it affects him in the sim, he's not like an uber athletic goaltender. 81 agility, 81 speed. I mean, you look there as well, like he's good on the breakaway, has a good 5-hole, but like his glove hand sucks. He's really not that good of a goaltender. Good recovery and rebound control, but you look at the actual attributes, which is something that's often overlooked for goaltenders in franchise mode. You look at the actual attributes for him, it doesn't paint a pretty picture. Whereas Tristan Lennox, yeah, 97 agility, 97 speed. The rebound control and recovery is not quite what it needs to be, but Lennox is a much more athletic goaltender at 6'5". So it makes me wonder, what the difference would be if we jump into a sim in a playoff situation. Who should the goaltender be based off of the in-game attributes? I am not entirely sure. But this is the team as it stands. We're hoping for the best. When it comes to that coaching staff, the only thing I could really look to do, and we might as well take a look here, actually. As you see, we have the A+. The only thing we could look to do is change out Terrien for Milroy or Couturier and swap he and Terrien around, which would be a very risky move. Now, Terrien, I mean, he's an amazing head coach. He has apparently won multiple Stanley Cups before getting here. He was coaching Washington when I picked him up, so that would explain it. 64 scheme fit. Milroy, I can't see the scheme fit unless I start shuffling people around. You know what? Let's do it, though. Let's shuffle people around. We're going to sacrifice Yves Bordeleau here for the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to demote Terrien, and we're going to promote Milroy to interim. And then looking at Milroy, his scheme fit's only a 58, which is brutal. So we'll demote him back to associate. Yes, it's hilarious that you can do this. Couturier will be boosted up to the NHL level, where he has only a 51. So our dude here in Terrien is no doubt our best option in terms of a coach right now. Let me go see if I can bring in an AHL associate coach who is a generalist, and will actually look to bring in Terrell Weissmuller. We'll look to bring you in, and hopefully he will accept. So, yeah, that's kind of the one downside right now, is that if scheme fit, we're dealing with the best coach that we possibly can, despite the fact that we have a tremendous coaching staff, all things considered. Some people might say it's unnecessary to hold the button here all the way. Again, my argument is that hopefully in the future, they've heard my complaints and they just add a max offer button. That'd be great for anyone who's like, man, how do you end up spending so much money? This is how. We sit here for 6.5 hours a day just scrolling to try and make sure that the coach accepts. It's no different than what I had to do to get Jamie Drysdale to sign, just in coach form. So, obviously, before we start simming the season, we're going to have to take a look at what's going on the draft board. Holy shit, this is taking forever. This was not worth it just to be able to find out how good of a fit those coaches were. It was worth it, though, because if we had someone who had an even better scheme fit, it would have made the team that much better. Holy shit, this is taking forever. We are going to find out in just a matter of moments as to whether or not we're adding the Sioux and Sarnia full-time. I feel like I've already kind of dipped my toe in the pool, and at this point it's like just jump in and add those two teams. We'll see, though. I mean, I'm not saying I regret picking up who we picked up in the last one, but it was that situation where it's like, I don't want to pick a low 7th defenseman again. You've seen how many low 7th defensemen we have on the roster already. I just didn't want to pick up more awful players, but if we have to add the Sarnia and the Sioux at this point... The Sarnia? The Sarnia. I mean, the Sarnia Sting. If we have to add the Sting and the Sioux at this point, then we're far enough into it. You could argue that anybody that we add won't necessarily be major game changers anyway. I mean, the roster that we have is basically the roster that we have, This is the core that's either going to win or not, and we'll see what happens in that regard. So with that, let me sim until we have signed that coach. There he goes. Perfect. And we'll stop the sim and let's take a look at ye old draft class. Who is out there for us? Canadian at the top. Raphael Parfait from the Quebec Ramparts. Let's see, though, who we have from the O. First up, Dante Simon from... Oh, my God. We have 2 OHL players projected in the first round. Holy shit. Okay, who's McInnes from? Hey, at least he helps. Adam McInnes from the Flint Firebirds is at least available. This is a very Euro-heavy draft, or at least outside the OHL draft. So Adam McInnes is going to be the pick. Pretty much no matter what, unless we make the playoffs, and hey, it's another defenseman. It'll probably end up being a medium top 4, but I'll take it. Next up, Brendan Manlow, not available to us. Dubnyk, not available. No. Sudbury, Kitchener, Peterborough, Sarnia. It's official, Sarnia and the Sioux are being added. For how bad this draft is, they have to be. So we're adding Sarnia, and we're adding the Sioux. Those are the only other teams and regions that we're adding. That's my safety net in this series, is to add them, and they are the only 2 other teams that will be added. Don't say like, oh, well, what about this team? What about this? No, that's it. That's it. And even then, probably shouldn't add them, but you have seen how weak this draft class is potentially going to be. I pretty much have no choice. Otherwise, we are just resigning to the fact that we are going to have very, very few valuable additions, if any. So, Cackers, Caden Ackers, also known as Cackers. We have Reich that we'll be adding. Kingston, London, Hamilton, Kitchener, Barrie, Guelph, Kingston, Niagara, London, Niagara. Jesus Christ. We'll add Kapusta. Yeah, see, you can just tell how bad this draft is going to be. So, yeah. Adam McInnes. This team is the team. Like I said just a few minutes ago, this core is the core. There is really... no signs of help coming at this point in time, especially, major help for Jamie Drysdale. That just simply isn't going to happen. So the team be as the team do, and we'll see what happens this season. I mean, heavily banking on us making the playoffs. If we do, it costs us a defenseman. 91 offense, 80 defense, 78 goaltending. But yeah, you see what we look like compared to Toronto. And maybe, just maybe, hoping that this team can make the playoffs. is Lofty. We're going to go with Lofty. Now, injuries are off. I believe auto-rotate is on. So unlike what we've been doing in the Ottawa series, we're just going to sim and we're going to go for it. And we're going to see what happens. Is this team worth following along with this season? Now, at the beginning of last year, it looked like, oh, okay, no, the expectations are way too high. There's no reason to follow the team. And then we started up picking up wins here and there, and then that turned into some winning streaks, and then you saw that we were incredibly close to making the playoffs. I believe it was 5 points that we missed out on. It might have ended up being by more, but we were pretty close, all things considered. So I'm intrigued now to see what happens this year, but as you can tell, perhaps my hunch, my suspicion for last year was off by a year because it's not going well right now at all. If we still have a brutal record come the end of this month, we will go ahead and skip to the end of the season just to save time because there's really no reason to not. Like, if we're going to be this bad, we might as well just skip ahead, right? So, 8-13-1 as it stands. Currently about 9 points off the playoff pace. We're now a little bit closer, picking up a couple of wins here. I think this team earned themselves another month worth of the spotlight. We'll see how December goes for us now. Again, the draft rankings, I don't really care. We'll get to that in a matter of moments. Of course, pretty much just wait it out until the draft. And the second I say we earn another month, we are 0-5 to start this month, make it 0-6. I will see you guys at the end of the season, as it looks like we're going to fall short of our playoff expectations. So, as you can probably tell by the record, things turned around for Detroit at the end of the season. 40-40-2 isn't exactly a bad record to end with for this roster. Now, it was not good enough for us to make the playoffs. That would have required us to finish with 90 points. So, yeah. But still, we're getting closer and closer to contending for a playoff spot, even if we're not quite there. As you get a look here, again, 82 points, much, much better than Buffalo. Certainly at this point, again, the option of tanking isn't there, nor do we really need to do that. But it is, I don't know. I was hoping for a better season. Maybe, again, the expectations were a bit too high for us to make the playoffs. But, it was certainly the goal. Even if we fell well short of that. Pittsburgh, the bottom of the barrel right now. Our offense was 4th best in the league. But yet again, it's the defense and the goaltending that's bringing us down. And the lack of help along the way defensively is really going to screw us. We need to hope that we get that defender McInnes here in this draft. Otherwise, it's going to be a rough time. Cameron Merritt had a breakout season with 97 points and 44 goals. Othman, 94 points as well. Great season for Carlton. A little bit disappointing for Willie Cashman. Madsen was looking good. Ted Lehman may have won the Calder. 21 goals and 56 points. Pretty happy with the third line in terms of production. Fourth line left a little bit to be desired. I just think certain guys like Madsen and Cashman struggled this season. They needed to carry their weight a little bit more than they did. Jamie Drysdale, I think, has finally won the Norris. 90 points, had a positive plus-minus. If Jamie Drysdale doesn't win the goddamn Norris this year, then when will he ever? And only 14 of those points were on the power play. He is insane. Insane. The rest of the defense obviously leaves a little bit to be desired. Delmas had a pretty strong rookie year. I mean, we at least need a Norris winner. But yeah, I mean, Howard Lowe had the audacity to try and turn down my initial contract offer. He's not good. Not that Tristan Lennox was any better. It's just we really need that improved defense if we're going to make things happen here, and I just don't know if it's going to happen. As you get a look there, Merritt 1 point off the pace. A tremendous season for him. Connor McDavid's now 34, but still led the league in goals. 5 different players broke the 50-goal mark this season. Defensively, Jamie Drysdale just won the Norris. I mean, Jesus Christ. If it goes to Thomas Chabot over Drysdale, I quit. You know, or Ty Smith because he had a plus 53. That is insanity. He had 30 more points than Ty Smith. And looking at the goals, surprise, surprise, it was Ian Mitchell, yet again, continuing to score goals for the Hawks. He now has 237 career goals as a defenseman. For the goaltenders, the winningest was Jake Ottinger. Samsonov was usurped this year. Dave Bobolev. And Samsonov with 7 shutouts each. The Calder race, it is going to go to Ted Lehman. So at least we should have a Calder winner, and we should have a Norris winner this season. So things are looking up. Jamie Drysdale is finally going to get his goddamn award, the Leonardo DiCaprio of the NHL. And we'll see what happens at the end of that. But overall, some positive signs with the team. The negative signs, though, and the negative side of the team dragging us down, and really the reason as to why we haven't made the postseason, and that is the defense and the subpar goaltending, unfortunately. So we'll see how it goes heading into this draft, hoping for the best. As long as we have a top 12 pick, we should be able to get that defenseman. There will still be some improvements as well when it comes to the players that we already have, as the Chicago Blackhawks win the Stanley Cup. And you saw Evan Barrett up there really carrying the weight. Cameron Merritt showing up as a 90 overall right now. Chicago beats Washington in 7. It's insane the amount of success that the Caps have had in this franchise mode run. As Evan Barrett and Alex DeBrincat lead the Hawks. Bobby Brink as well, leading the Hawks to a Stanley Cup yet again. Defensively, Badan, Mitchell, Boqvist, Anderson, Keandre Miller, and goaltending, Bo Kobasu. Good, what a name, Bo Kobasu. Love that. Chicago wins it. Let's take a look at the awards. Does Jamie Drysdale finally win it? Last 4 cups have either gone to Chicago or Washington. Here we go. Evan Barrett wins the Art Ross. Boldy wins the Hart. Jamie Drysdale finally has his Norris. Oh, thank God. That should have been like his 4th, maybe 5th Norris trophy of his career, but he finally gets it. It took 90 points, but Jamie Drysdale has won the Norris Trophy. He also wins the Lady Byng, and Ted Lehman wins the Calder. Very, very good. Conn Smythe to Bobby Brink. Kobasu won the Vezina. Ottinger to Jennings. Jack Adams to Winnipeg. Turcotte won a Selke. Boldy to Ted Lindsay, and McDavid won the Rocket Richard. But the big news here, Drysdale and Lehman taking home some hardware. Down in the AHL, Tony Shepard scored the most points in the league. It was his first season down in the AHL. He was also league MVP. Pavel Dorofeyev scored the most goals. Dude named Bobkov was top rookie. Torres was the top goaltender, and Fedoruk was the MVP of the playoffs. So decent there for Grand Rapids as well. I think they actually made the playoffs, and I just didn't really pay attention to it. Let's see what we have here, though, for the draft lottery. So again, this season, some positives, some negatives. Let's take a look here. OHL rankings. Our boy is still projected 12th. Adam McGinnis. We need him. We need him desperately. We just need that pick inside the top 12. Come on. Yes, 9th. 9th overall. We should be adding a decent defenseman into the mix. Thank God for that. So we'll get to the player retirements here. So maybe, next year is our year. It's starting to become the trend, but it's getting closer to becoming a reality. As you look at the player retirements this year, Huberdeau, Ehlers, Monahan, and Goodrow all finishing with over 1,000 career points. Defensively, Victor Hedman, almost 900 career points. Jones, Hamilton up there as well. And for goaltenders, Markstrom, Saros, Aiden Hill, Tristan Jarry, amongst others, who call it a career. So we'll see who these new coaches or scouts end up being. It's Monahan and Seth Jones that become coaches. Good stuff, and we will get to this draft. Thank God we actually get to add a defenseman into the mix here, because obviously we desperately need it, especially with some of our defensemen like Anderson and McGrath, who were low elites. that just haven't developed. Please tell me your name is Kuka Kuka. It is Kai Kuka. Damn it. You got Barnes. Wow, big steal. Big steal there. Oh, Arizona. Arizona. What did you do? What did you do, Arizona? Oh, boy. You notice that there are some lower overalls. There's no way he's a high 7th. Could you imagine? Adam McGinnis. Not going to have the highest starting overall. He has a 4-year ETA. God help me if he's like a high top 6. He needs to be a medium 4. Please, Adam McGinnis. Oh my God, he is actually a high top 6. Whew. All right. Well, 60 overall, high top 6. Maybe we're not getting the defensive help that we needed. That's been the one thing that we've noticed here. Do not bank on good defensemen from these teams. In the OHL. Hello. 2 medium elite goalies in the next round, huh? Very, very nice. And I'm leaning towards Watson anyway because of the height. Well, I talked about how we needed some defensive help. I don't know how much a high top 6 is going to help us. But a medium elite goalie will certainly help us. There's Alan Morgan on Sarnia. 5-year ETA, but a price comparison. And then there's Dane Watson, who's a little bit worse, also a 5-year comparison. How I wish we could take Roy Highnote. Jesus. So, Alan Morgan's already 18. He's an inch shorter. But he is a little bit better than Watson. Sarnia is eligible. Sarnia is eligible. Well-rounded personality. Alan Morgan is our first official good pick from the Sarnia Sting. We take the medium elite goalie. He is a 57. And we'll see how good the other option happens to be. Man, Chen would have been a great pick too. Let's see. Where's our boy here? He should be showing up any second. Low elite defenseman. Where the hell is he? Did he not go until the 3rd round? Watson was a 55, so you could argue, I mean, it wouldn't have been bad either way. Even if I had to settle for Watson without making Sarnia eligible, we still would have ended up with a medium elite goalie in the 2nd round, which is great. Now, whether or not he ever develops in time, I don't know. Steve Gilbert is going to be our next pick. And Steve Gilbert has some potential here. I'm going to guess he's a low top 6. But he could be promising as a sniper. Steve? Medium 9. I'd rather see a medium 9 than a low top 6. 61 overall for Gilbert. I'm happy with that. That's a solid 3rd round pickup for us. That's pretty good. So, I mean, it's been a decent draft so far. It's just we don't know how well a high top 6 defenseman is going to develop at this point. But I don't hate it. I don't hate it. It's a decent situation. Next up, just making sure we didn't miss out on anybody, we have Cameron Raymond. Why don't they spell Cameron right? No strengths. Oh boy. That's a bit rough. Then there's also the defenseman Jackson Van Kadishin. He's 20 years old, big boy. 4-year ETA. And then a little bit later on here, I mean, these are all guys that we can take moving up here. Ronald Byers, also an overager. Ackers and Grabowski. Well, I probably won't take Grabowski because we know how good he is. We really do need the defensive help. So we're going to take the overager here. We're going to take Jackson Van Kadishin. Beast on skates. He is a medium 7th. At 20 years old. I don't know how well that's going to work out. And we're probably going to take another defenseman here. Just out of pure necessity. It's going to be another overager, Ronald Byers, who is also just a giant on skates. He is a low 6. Oh, God. It was worth a shot. Let's be honest. It was worth a shot. But that defensive help just isn't coming. From here, we have Dan Cousineau as the only player in sight who's worth selecting. Another overager from the Windsor Spitfires. Let's do it. Cousineau is a medium bottom 6 at a 57 overall. This draft has not exactly gone according to plan. The last player available. Did I pin anybody else? I did. There's some dude way down here, right? Yeah, there's Reich. Sheldon Reich, screw it. Let's see how good you are. From the Flint Firebirds, you are a medium 7th. So all in all, yeah, after Gilbert, it fell apart, which isn't surprising. We would have walked away with a medium elite goaltender no matter what, which is very nice. McInnes is, he's something. He's something. I don't know if that's a good something or a bad something, but he's something. Whether or not he'll be able to help push this defense over the edge in the future, I have no idea. But as you get a look at the contract situation that we're going to have to deal with here coming up, it's interesting. We're going to be cutting Hansen. I can promise you that, because he's just garbage. We're going to have to re-sign Lowe and Lennox. Defensively, Drysdale obviously needs another deal. Anderson seems to have benefited very well from a season in the AHL. So, you know, we got a lot to do here. We'll save it for the start of next episode. But there's been some promising developments. Next year is our year, as they say. I thank you all very much for watching. You know the deal. Support the video, support the channel. It is greatly appreciated. Check out everything in the description if you haven't already done so. And, of course, a shout-out to my friends on Patreon. I will see all of you in the next one. Until then, have a good one. Take it easy. Stay safe. And next year is our year, damn it.